Personal accountability and responsibility. Two things that I just think that a lot of people just don't really have these days. This girl's TikTok blew up recently. She states that in an interview, she asked the interviewer if they'd be able to make accommodations for her time blindness. Now, if you're wondering what time blindness is, don't worry. I was also confused, but here we go. As of May 2023, the Cleveland Clinic states, time blindness refers to the inability to recognize when time has passed or to estimate how long something will take. Dr. Manos says time blindness isn't a diagnosis or a specific symptom. It's more just a general way of talking about the phenomenon of losing track of time. Now, apparently this is far more common in people with ADHD or autism. So with that in mind, let's just go ahead and start watching her TikTok.
So I just got yelled at for asking a very reasonable question. So I'm applying to go somewhere, and I just wanted to know, are there accommodations for people who struggle with time blindness and being on time, you know? And then the person I was with interrupted and acted like I was asking something else, and then when we were done, they actually started yelling at me and saying that accommodations for time blindness doesn't exist, and if you struggle with being on time, you'll never be able to get a job.
I mean, honestly, where's the lie there? That's very truthful. If you can't be on time, yeah, it's not going to work out. And speaking of accommodations, that kind of seems like it falls on you to figure that out. If you have issues with that, there's these cool little nifty things called watches. The time is on your phone. There's even a little app on your phone where you could set alarm clocks. And if you're that confused with time, you could set alarm clocks every 10 minutes just to remind you to remember to set another alarm clock so that you can be on time for work. I don't understand where the disconnect here is, because even if this is something that's very, very real to this person, I don't know this person, obviously. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. There's plenty of things and resources that you have at your own disposal to make the accommodations for yourself. Employers need you to be on time. Your team needs you to be on time. What accommodations are they gonna make? Like, oh, this employee will just show up whenever because they have time blindness or whatever. And then where do you draw the line? Since it's not an official diagnosis, then everyone who sucks at showing up on time is gonna start dropping that time blindness excuse and be like, well, you can't hold it against me because it's a disorder. You have to hold yourself accountable. You have the tools at your disposal to make it work.
You know, provided you're trying your absolute best to be there. And then they're like, your stupid generation wants to destroy the workplace. And yeah, I think that a culture where workers are just cut off because they struggle with being on time, when there's other solutions that we can look to.
I would love to know what those solutions are, though. Yes, there are some work environments where whether you show up on time or whatever time you show up, as long as you get the work done in the 8 hours allotted, you're fine. It doesn't matter what time you leave, what time you show up. Sure, those are probably the kinds of jobs you want to be applying to at that point. But if you're applying to a job that requires you to be on time, no, they don't need to be making any kind of accommodation for you. You have to be on time. So no, I'm not one of those that's hating on an entire generation of people, because believe it or not, before Gen Z was hated by everyone, millennials were talked about the exact same way. And hell, most of the time they still are. So I fall into the millennial category. So yeah, we're all hated. Whatever.
I think that just anybody who thinks it's okay to just treat people like that, yeah, that culture needs to be dismantled.
What do you mean the culture needs to be dismantled? Showing up on time needs to be dismantled? What if doctors just showed up whenever the heck they wanted? Yeah, screw that surgery you had scheduled. You got time blindness. So whatever. Guess they'll die. No, it's bullshit. Honestly, what it comes down to is people have got to stop feeling so eager to self-diagnose themselves with certain conditions. And I think with the blow-up of social media, TikTok in particular, this self-diagnosis of all sorts of things has gotten out of hand crazy. Now, I have no doubt that there's a lot of people out there who have never been diagnosed with certain things, that they've been able to look it up online and feel like, okay, that makes sense for who I am. And I'm sure they probably actually have it. But I also am pretty much convinced that there's probably a large number of people that are just taking whatever other people are saying and saying, yeah, you know, that sounds like a good disorder to assign myself, sure.
And then I asked that person, how can you feel good about yourself upholding this kind of system? And then to think, I'm entitled. No, if people think it's okay to treat others like this, that's entitlement.
Oh, you are entitled To think that a company owes you accommodations for the fact that you can't show up on time. No, you'll never hold a job. Unless, like I said, you find one of those positions where it doesn't really matter. In your standard 9 to 5 or any kind of scheduled job, no, you will not hold that down. The employer has no reason to try and make those accommodations when, again, you have all those tools at your disposal. And she releases the second TikTok after this one blew up like crazy and people started talking everywhere.
When people ask me, how does it feel being the time blindness girl and have everybody bashing you constantly on Twitter and Instagram? And all I could say is it's a testament of what the United States has become. And we hear about algorithms, political radicalization, and how the internet is influencing humans, and we think, oh, okay. But then when it happens to you, you see how big of a problem it is. Because when we can no longer have a civil discussion about a video with very little context, it makes you wonder, is there even a future for our nation?
Well, there won't be any future if everyone suddenly decides they have time blindness and can't come into work. No future at all. Nobody's going to be producing anything.
What future is there to fight for? Because arousing mass amounts of hate, judging people, making mass assumptions, and being stuck in a cognitive loop without even knowing it, and then doing exactly what the algorithms want is seen as normal. But you know what? It doesn't have to be.
Now, I'm going to show you one of the response videos I saw that is just absolutely brilliant. I thought this to myself as well, because we have somebody who's pretty much fully blind that works with the company that I work with, and they seem to show up to work on time every day. And they're actually blind. They can't see anything. So, found this video pretty humorous.
So this girl recently went on a job interview.
So I'm applying to go somewhere, and I just wanted to know, are there accommodations for people who struggle with time blindness and being on time?
Yep, she was upfront trying to discuss her disability of being time blind.
They actually started yelling at me and saying that accommodations for time blindness doesn't exist, and if you struggle with being on time, you'll never be able to get a job.
Now, I don't know a lot about time blindness, but I'm actually blind. I can't see, and
1:42 p.m.
works for me.
Exactly. Like, we've had clocks, we've had watches, we've had phones. The phone she's using right now has time on it and has alarms on it. I don't understand the problem here. If you struggle with keeping track of time, use your resources. So in conclusion, while time blindness may be a real thing that some people go through, I have seen a lot of content of people saying they suffer the same thing, and you know what they do? They take accountability into their own lives. They set alarms. They do the things that they have to do to report to work on time. And then one creator I watched even said that employers, it's not up to the employer to make accommodations for how you get to work, because that's before the clock actually has even started. So that's on you. It is on you to figure out how to get to work on time, not the employer. I mean, damn, I just keep thinking back to when I was a GM of a pizza place and how screwed over I would have been if the night rush people just showed up 30 to 45 minutes late every day because they're like, well, I have time blindness. I didn't know what time it was. Like, yeah, it's not gonna fly. You're gonna get canned. Sorry. Bye. Have a nice day. Man, this topic got me a little heated, but anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.